We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they could send us to the morgue. We are the ones who are scared to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No. Get off his fucking neck. The man makes you no He can't fucking breathe. The man makes you no We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more.
This podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned. If it's Thursday, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, a show where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. Today, as like most days, I have got a glorious panel here with me to break down all the shit talking and shenanigans, the fight announcements and fuckery that has trickled out of the MMA pipeline since we saw you wonderful folks last. First and foremost, though, before we get into all that fun, gentlemen, how you doing over there?
We're here and kicking.
Looking forward to the fights and the Super Bowl this weekend. Damn glad that we're getting close to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, that being said, we are going to start things off here the way we like to, with a little bit of news and recent events, fight announcements, fight cancellations, rumors that have been officially confirmed or denied, just relevant things in the combat sports world we feel relevant for you guys to know about. First and foremost, unfortunately, we are tying right back to last weekend as we have the last couple weeks here. There were a lot of rumors coming out of UFC Saudi Arabia that a lot of the fighters were having breathing issues and they couldn't really be explained at first. Come to find out, literally the day before fighters started arriving in Riyadh, they had painted one of the locker rooms, not all of them, just one of the locker rooms that I think they said 8 different fighters used or 7 different fighters were in, and apparently painted it with some giant commercial paint to do all the logos and everything. And several different fighters complained of having breathing issues. And it has now officially been confirmed that, yeah, they fucked up. They officially painted the fucking locker room the day before fighters were set to arrive. And the fumes were absolutely an issue for several fighters. One of those being Mike Beast Boy Davis, who, if you saw that fight, didn't really look like Beast Boy, and he said so himself. He didn't even feel like himself. He felt like he was breathing through a tube for the entire fight, and that's just not normal. So it's going to be interesting to see what, if anything, actually gets done about this. It was over in Saudi Arabia, so I doubt they're actually going to do anything. But seeing as how now it's actually come to light and it is true, it'll be interesting what happens going forward. That being said, to the surprise of very few who have been paying attention to this fight game for any amount of time here, we got official confirmation this week that Aljamain Sterling will officially be replacing Merab on the Russian Ultimate Fighter style show that they were originally scheduled to coach on. No word officially if Piotr Jan and Aljamain will be fighting at the end of that show like coaches traditionally did once upon a time for the official tough show, but still kind of interesting to see how that one's going to shake out. That being said here, fight world in the UFC side of things here got very interesting in the last few days, very much so this afternoon as well. We found out yesterday officially Brandon Royval is out of his March 1st main event for UFC Vegas 103 against Manel Kape. He is injured and is just not going to be able to make it back in time to fight standards in the next couple of weeks. So he is pulling out in enough time for them to try and find a replacement. And the UFC did just that. They announced this afternoon that officially, with Brandon Royval out, Asa Almabayev will be stepping in to take on Manel Kape for that UFC Vegas 103 main event on March 1st. The card stays the same aside from one of the names on the main event at this point. I'm not sure that it should stay the main event, seeing as how it's a replacement fight that doesn't really make much of a difference here. And the UFC has changed main events for much worse reasons on much shorter notice, but it'll be interesting. We're still a couple weeks out, so we've still got time to see what they're going to do with this one. Next one we've got here, March 15th at the officially location TBD. It looks like it's probably going to be another Apex fight, but nothing officially yet. Eliza Zaleski is finally getting back into the cage, taking on Chidi Njokuani, who is just on one hell of a fucking tear right now. It almost feels like they're throwing Zaleski in here as a sacrificial lamb to kind of finish out a contract worth of fights and give Chidi a potential another highlight reel finish, which is what I kind of anticipate in that fight. But we'll see as we get a little closer what those two actually look like. Now, on the other side of things here, we got some not so fun news. First and foremost, kind of fun news, but just for me, because I'm a petty asshole and I'm very open about that. We got the official numbers today. The end of 2024 officially saw ESPN Plus lose 700,000 subscribers with no climb out of this downfall that it has gotten itself into in sight, especially with the UFC's broadcast rights getting ready to come up into negotiation period. ESPN Plus is in a hard fucking spot right now, as it should be, because I, like many people, paid good fucking money to ESPN Plus, and they could not provide half of the fucking quality that pirate streams can and do, allegedly. So they can go fuck themselves for their $15 a month. I am happy to see them losing fucking subs, because even people like Luke Thomas, who was watching them as a capacity for his actual fucking job, not just as a fan like a lot of us do here, even he, with their technical support on the fucking phone, could not get, what was it, 3 pay-per-views in a row or 4 pay-per-views in a row that he paid for out of his own pocket. With their help, could not get them to watch on his TV, on his tablet, on anything. I understand those troubles, and I was not willing to go so far as to get their technical support involved, but their subscription service just is not flat out worth it. And it's nice to see that they are actually having repercussions because of that. 700,000 subscribers in a year bailing out is not a good sign for any broadcast platform. We'll see what they actually do about it, though. The next one here, it's not always the right way, I agree, but it's definitely something the UFC has been doing a lot more of lately, and that is we got 2 more roster openings here after last weekend's UFC Saudi Arabia. Jairzinho Rosenstruik and Jamal Pogues have officially been dropped from the UFC roster. Whether that means that was the last fight on their contract or the UFC has released them, we don't officially know yet. We just know that Roster Watch, the bot that checks for changes in the UFC roster, initially reported it, and the UFC did confirm that neither one of those gentlemen are no longer under contract for the UFC at this point. So not fun, but they're clearing out the heavyweight division, which doesn't have a whole lot to clear out to begin with. So it's going to be interesting going forward to see how that gets handled. The next one here, this one is honestly a little bit of a melancholy piece of news. Yes, it is very, very, very fucking important, but also I still don't believe it was the right way. That being the judge giving final approval to the $375 million UFC antitrust lawsuit. Just the first half, the Kung Lee and Nate Quarry section, the 2017 to current fighters class action lawsuit is still ongoing. And the problem with that, while it is, I admit, very good that there's a large sum of money coming to a lot of those fighters who absolutely deserve it, that comes at the cost of the potential changes that this case could have actually had that we talked about several times. So I'm not going to go over it as nauseum again, but this was the case that could have had the impact on not just the UFC, but all major combat sports organizations' contracts going forward. It could have gotten rid of the fucking sunshine clauses. It could have gotten rid of the championship re-sign clauses and things like that. So those are just out of the picture at this point because the newer lawsuit, I should say, doesn't include those options or those negotiations. So on one hand, it's very good that one of the suits got settled, and a lot of those fighters who desperately need that money and deserve that money, in my opinion, are going to get some. On the other hand, at what cost are we getting that? And that's the bigger picture here that I think a lot of folks are failing to look at. That being said, the last one that I have got here, excuse me, again, is a bittersweet piece of news here. This is actually a 2-day story that is unfolded in the last portion, just, I believe, an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours ago. We got word yesterday afternoon that Dominic Cruz was injured and was not going to be able to make the UFC Seattle card here in just a couple of weeks, which would have ostensibly been his retirement fight. He has been saying that he just wants one more, and that fight against Rob Font would have been a damn good one to go out on win, lose, or draw. Now it turns out, we find out today that not only is Dominic Cruz injured, Dominic Cruz, for the second time in 7 months, has massively dislocated one of his shoulders. The first time it took him almost a month to be able to get back to train. This time it popped out so bad, they're saying now he's probably going to need surgery just to be able to continue to train normally, let alone trying to get back into fight condition to begin with. And that brought us to the announcement that we got this afternoon. When we found out the extent of his injuries, Dominic Cruz decided that he was going to use that as a sign to officially retire from MMA. That brings the number of quote unquote old school WBC, WEC, Strikeforce, the early days of MMA, the number of those guys that are still around and still actively doing it is almost down to countable on one hand at this point, with Dominic Cruz officially retiring. And while, yes, it is inevitable, we say it all the fucking time, Father Time always wins. This sport is not a long game sport. Looking back at the way Dominic Cruz's career has played out is one of those that will be forever used as an example that people will say, what if, what could have been? Because as great as he was, he is a great example of a fighter who was just unfortunately plagued with injuries throughout the entirety of his career. They weren't necessarily as bad early on, but almost as soon as that belt touched his shoulder in WEC, or excuse me, WEC, it started off a very bad trend of, take a fight, get injured, be out for 2 to 3 years. Take a fight, look great, get injured, be out for 18 months. Take a fight, be injured, get out for another 2.5 years. And I get that he's the man who makes the statement that ring rust isn't real. He also acknowledged in his retirement statement today that regardless of how much you might want to do something, there always comes a point where the body just is not willing and able to keep up with it. And this is that point for him with fighting. As much as he loves it, his body has told him that we can't keep doing this. So he is officially going to hang him up. So tip of the cap, golf clap to the career of Dominic Cruz. We never like to see guys go when there's potential to have one more good one in there, but we're always happier to see fighters retire when they are able to sign their signature and tie their own shoes of their own volition than the alternative opposite here. So as much as it does suck that Dominic Cruz is going to unfortunately retire on a situation like this, we are still inevitably going to see him on the UFC broadcasts. I promise you, he's still going to be active and around. This is just the official closing of the door in terms of his fighting career, which is understandable at this point, but still sucks a little bit. So that being said, that is what I have got for news this week. Either one of you gentlemen have anything that I might have missed?
Nope, I got nothing. Except for maybe one might want to check our feed a little bit just in case.
Over to Luna. I think we're good. Maybe not. Let me double check OBS again, see if it's being a whore. Does not appear to be too bad. It's like there might have been a choppy period there, but it seems like we're okay now. So that being said, that'll bring us to the point where if you've been watching combat sports as long as some of us have been watching combat sports, you start to learn what you like to watch, where you go to watch it, and when it comes on. And inevitably, you start to lose the forest for the trees, as it were. Luckily for us here on the I'm No Joe podcast, we have ourselves a bona fide young person that's out there ever so diligently, carefully fingering the pulse of the MMA world to help keep us abreast of all the names that are going to be names before they are names in a little segment that we call Slows, Cans, and Contenders.
Appreciate you, brother. So there's definitely a lot that you could throw in the trash with this card, honestly. I mean, you throw the whole pay-per-view in the trash aside from the last two fights if you really wanted to. But there are quite a few like young prospects that have some potential. That's the best fun that we're going to be able to get out of the prelims, in all honesty. But the shit that I would throw in the trash, probably the biggest fight, in my opinion, that I'd throw in the trash is that Gabriel Santos and Jack Jenkins fight. Jack Jenkins, he's been hyped up a little bit, and obviously he's at home. They're in Australia, so he's going to have the crowd behind him. But he hasn't had like a really big, exciting win or moment since he got in the UFC. 3-1. He's had the few wins, but they're against cans, and he hasn't done anything but win by decision. So you can throw that fight as a whole in there. You can throw the Jake Matthews and Francisco Prado in the trash. I think Jake Matthews, he has shown some toughness. I mean, he's not the worst fighter in the world, but he's been back and forth his whole career. Francisco Prado already shown us he's not worth that much. I mean, 1-2 already since he got in the UFC. I don't know if the fight itself is going to be that good. It definitely doesn't warrant being on the main card of a pay-per-view. You got fucking Vyacheslav Borashev, fucking Slava Klaus. Dude's tough as nails. but I'd honestly throw him in the fucking can at this point. Probably the same thing with Bruna Brazil. She's shown some toughness, but I don't really think she's worth much of a damn. I am kind of excited to see how that fight goes as a whole, though. To see how Kong Wong bounces back from losing to Gabriela Fernandez in her last fight. You got Kevin Doucette. I'd also throw him in the trash and taking an ass whooping like he did in his last fight to Brian Battle. The kid was touted as a potential prospect, and I think that kind of got checked in his last go. So I'd throw all that shit in the trash. Like I said, you can throw the majority of it in there, but I do have a couple of guys I would say as a can tender on the fence. Somehow they have a great win this weekend. You know, they got the hometown crowd behind them, could help them bounce back. It's Justin Taffa and Jimmy Crute for me. And Jimmy Crute, both of them is just they're in divisions that are really weak, right? Jimmy Crute, light heavyweight, especially with Anthony Smith kind of being at the end of his career and everything. There's an opportunity for him to bounce back up in the top 15. If he gets himself a nice win this weekend, same for Justin Taffa. He goes out there and gets a knockout. Like neither one of them should be on the main card of the pay-per-view, just like the Jake Matthews and Prado fight. But there's that potential if they go out there and get a nice finish. They could put themselves back on the right track of things. Obviously, if they lose, they're just literally at the end of their UFC careers, both of them. So they're on the fence. They're the contenders for me. The shit to keep an eye out for, like the exciting stuff for this card. I am excited to see how the Colby Thickness and Alexandre Topuria fight goes. I don't think Topuria's brother is going to be anywhere as good as him. Like we say all the time, you know, there can only really be one good brother. We've seen the situation time and time again in MMA. Topuria's the champ, so his brother's probably not going to be anywhere near as good as him, but he's also only had a handful of professional fights. He's already had a loss here. Colby Thickness, a few years younger, he's 25. He's already 7-0. He's got Volk in his training camp, in his corner. I feel like this kid is at least the more exciting option here. I'm leaning towards the Aussie here in this fight, but I'm interested to see how it goes. It's just a fun story, too, having Topuria and Volk in their corners. We would hope that's the next fucking fight, but then you got the rumors and rumblings that Topuria is going to go up, try to fight Islam, and then we're going to get Diego and Volk. There's so much bullshit going on right now, and it's really just because it's Topuria. You're already thinking he's fucking Conor McGregor. But yeah, I'm excited to see how that fight goes. You got Rong Zhu versus Cody Steele. I'm excited for that fight, more so Rong Zhu, but excited for Cody Steele just because the same situation as Colby Thickness here. A young kid that's 7-0, got 5 finishes. You know, like to see how things go for him in this debut. Obviously, Rong Zhu lost his debut, but dude's exciting as fuck. You know, lost to a doctor stoppage as well. So you got Tom Nolan. I'm excited to see how he does. I mentioned Kong Wong, see how she bounces back. Her debut was exciting as all hell. She goes out there and gets another knockout. She's just her potential of getting the knockouts just makes her exciting as fuck. You don't have a lot of that in the ladies' side of things. The young kid Quillen Salkild making his debut in Australia beat one of our KC locals on the Contender Series last year, Gage Young. That was a fun little fight between those two. I'm fucking looking forward to seeing what this kid does in his debut. Then obviously you got the fucking main event, the co-main event. Both of those fights probably the only guaranteed fights, in my opinion, that are going to be exciting or even interesting. Interested to see how Tatiana actually does finally getting the shot at the title. She hasn't really fought anybody that's extremely good, you know, Jessica Andrade towards the end of her career and shit like that. She hasn't fought in over a year again because she's so injury prone. So how's it really going to pan out for her? Whaley's also so fucking strong, so dominant, so well rounded. Same thing with Sean Strickland. Does he actually get aggressive? Does he go out there and try to push the pace more against Drickus? Because he's the same thing, really strong, well rounded fucking dude. Even if I don't like him, he's a good fighter. So are we actually going to get a good fight there? Is he just going to whoop Sean's ass? Just kind of prove that they shouldn't have done this rematch? The only other thing I got on the contender side, I'm looking forward to the young heavyweight making his debut, Taliesin Teixeira, the kid fighting Justin Tafa, 25 years old, undefeated, 7-0. 6 of those 7 wins by knockout. The other one's a first round submission. All 7 of them are first round finishes. That's nice to see. An actual young kid coming in undefeated, everything by first round finish at heavyweight. We need some heavyweights coming in. I don't fucking know. Vinny told me on earlier today when we were looking shit up. He is Brazilian. I don't know if he's related to Glover. Couldn't find that. I don't think he is, but that would add to the fun story, right? Like, to me, that would be the only thing that makes sense as to why he'd be on the main card of a fucking pay-per-view for his debut. But either way, it's exciting. I didn't think he's actually related to Glover, but that would be a fun addition to the story. That's all I got. There's a few young kids to be excited for. Fucking co-main and main. But I'd like to hear what you boys got for the Kansas and contenders this week.
I had to come post myself because, to be honest, this card is loaded with a bunch of shit. I'm trying to find something to be excited about this week, and this card is not helping me at all. Look, I love that we're in Australia, so we get all of the Australian New Zealand fighters. They load the cards with those. So you always get a great hometown roar and all of that. But unfortunately, a lot of the hometown roar that they put on this card is going to fall flat. I mean, you look at Jimmy Crute. Jimmy Crute hasn't won since 2020, 4 years ago. Yes, he had one draw in there, but they ran that one back and he got subbed in the second round. Jimmy Crute's going on the cans list right now. To be fair, most of his losses have came against the top guys in the light heavyweight division. He's lost to fucking former champ. And then fucking he did lose to Anthony Smith when Anthony Smith was still looking good. Granted, that was 2020. So I mean, but at the time, he's lost to some notable names, but not names he couldn't have beaten. So I really think that he kind of loses that whole contender status and ends up in the cans for me. Not that the guy that he's facing is any different. I don't think Rodolfo is any sort of world breaker. He's just a middle of the road guy. Enough for them to fill a slot with. I'll say it. The entirety of the early prelims that start at 5 p.m. Central, way too fucking late for those kind of what I would consider put some primetime fights on at 5 o'clock before you get there. But you know, that entirely early prelims is fucking garbage. Which, to their credit, that's why they're on the early prelims. At least they did that part right. Look, the Colby Cygnus and Alexandre Topuria, that fight is all hype because of who is cornering them. I don't give a flying fuck about either one of them. I'm still mad that they've gotten all the fucking airtime that they have on the embedded series. They shouldn't be on there. If you want to do a brief once over for one episode, but it's been every fucking episode. Nobody cares. Stop trying to pump these guys up like there's something, specifically Taporia, because they're trying to. We need 2 brothers that are really good. We all know that doesn't happen. We know it doesn't happen with husband and wives. It doesn't happen with sisters. It doesn't happen with any of them. It just doesn't. And Wang Hong, albeit got caught and subbed in her last fight out, I still think she has a lot of fucking potential. I think she just made a simple mistake and paid the price because, oh, you're in a much bigger organization now. And even the girls that really aren't that good are still good enough to get here. So they're a step up from where she was, but she still does have a lot of potential. And to her credit. I honestly don't care about Tom Nolan and fucking Borshev. That another one that's middle of the road. I can slightly get behind Jack Jenkins. Slightly. He's a contender for me. But the fight as a whole, not great. But contender, I'll even I'll go as far as say Gabriel Santos can be a contender here too. Sure, it's not a fitting premier prelim fight, but compared to what's on the card, you're kind of stuck. And I mean, I'll go this far. Wiley Zhang, I know, is going to beat the brakes off of Tatiana Suarez. Tatiana Suarez, in my opinion, contender. And we don't know. She's injured so often. She's never faced any real opposition on her way up, or anyone who's been on the cusp of really fighting for a title. She had an opportunity at that, but just got gifted it while she was fucking injured, by the way. Look, the main event is the only what I'll call contender fight on the entirety of the card. Not even the co-main event doesn't get that from me. And that's only because I know these two are going to try to punch the fuck out of each other. And I'm totally down with that because the rest of these fights could be boring as shit. I just know that one won't be. Sean Strickland is not that kind of guy who's going to have a boring fight. He's going to talk shit while he's in there and keep moving forward the entire time, whether he goes to sleep or he fucking beats Drickus. But, I mean, we'll fucking see. But as a whole, this card, in my opinion, is fucking trash. I'm surprised Justin Taffa even still has a fucking job with the UFC. Between him and his brother, Justin and Jr., they've been fucking really throwing shit bad. To their credit, though, they've been filling in for each other. But, being a company man only gets you so far. Because to be a company man, you still have to win to continue to be a company man. Yeah, as a whole, I'm happy with the amount of Aussies and guys from that neck of the woods, from the Oceanic region that are getting all that. But this is the worst 2 title fights on a pay-per-view card I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I've got to agree. A lot of people, not just myself, a lot of people in the MMA world have been saying for at least a week or two now, UFC Saudi Arabia legitimately had a better stacked card than UFC 312 does, and UFC 312 has 2 title fights at the top of the fucking marquee, and 2 potentially very interesting title fights at that. The problem is they treated the rest of the card like it's a fight night away from home. They just loaded it with locals who have contractual obligations and might put more butts in seats because they're fighting quote unquote at home, rather than putting all good fights on the pay-per-view cards like they used to do. This is part of the reason why ESPN Plus lost 700,000 fucking subscribers last year. But yeah, definitely a lot of local folks in there. So you got to give the UFC credit for that. But there's also not a lot of really big fights on this card. I am very interested, as well as you guys, to see how fucking Song Wang makes her comeback after getting too fucking full of herself and getting her ass handed to her. Bruna Brazil, I think, is a pretty fair test of that, because we saw her hand Molly her ass, and we've also seen her fall flat on her face as well. So not necessarily a world breaker, but a much better test to see where she's at, career wise at this point. I said last time that they came down to Australia that the Aussie parlay looked real fucking good, and it did. It didn't hit, but it looked real good last time. This time around, boy, that Aussie parlay looks a lot tougher than it did the last time around. So I don't know if that means that they're all going to hit this time, or if you just should save your goddamn money and bet individual fights or not at all, because parlays on this card, I'm telling you right now, from people smarter than me, are going to be hard to come across and make good money on. That being said, I am absolutely interested to see how this fucking older Taporia versus Volk's training partner matchup shakes loose with the two of them in the corners as well. I know that we're going to get Pereira in the fucking corner for the main event, and that's all well and good and fun, but I think this is the one that has a little more relevancy in terms of the cornering as well as the fighters here making their debuts. Could be a real interesting fucking fight. The only real contender I think I can really honestly call on this whole card, you guys kind of mentioned it earlier, is Jimmy Crute. Like, he's at home. This is literally best fucking case scenario he can get here. If you can't perform at this point on the main card of a pay-per-view in your backyard, there's not a lot of reason to keep these guys around if they're just going to go fucking blah when they get literally their moment to shine. And that's happened more often than not lately. So we're hoping against hope that these could all be good. But I think that Jimmy Crute one is the only one that I can see that's really contender worthy, because if the Jimmy Crute we have seen when he shines shows up Saturday night, there's potential for a real fun fucking fight there. But if flat-footed Jimmy shows up and the home field advantage doesn't mean shit to him, I think Rodolfo walks the fuck through him, and it doesn't turn out to be as fun as we hoped. That being said, main event and co-main event, title fights in both. Ladies 115, men's 185, both belts up for grabs in Australia with no Australian fighters involved in either fight. What are you going to do? It's an interesting card. There's a lot of fun to be had, but it's an interesting card overall, I'd say.
I appreciate the both of you boys trying to pretty up the turd of the pay-per-view that we're getting here. It's a disappointing fucking way to get down under, man. That's for sure. We shined the light on the good notes and the good contenders. I appreciate it. I was surprised big time by Golf D actually saying he would consider Jack a fucking contender slightly. I mean, he hasn't shown. I mean, he could potentially, but he hasn't shown me enough, dude.
I feel like there's potential there. That's why. And like I said, I feel like there's potential. You're right. He hasn't shown it yet, but there's something about the dude that I feel that there's potential buried in there. It's just a matter of, does it come out? Hopefully we see it come out at home.
Yeah, I hope so too. I like that you said that, though. I just wanted to throw that out there. For once, Golf T actually threw out some positivity about a kid that I don't see the same thing in. So I liked it. Good fucking way
if we ever see eye to eye on something, this world's gonna burn.
It's good shit, though. You turned something positive, so I appreciate you, boys.
Thank you very much, sir. Always appreciated. So that'll bring us to the point where in most shows, you're going to get some bullshit B-roll for some product that doesn't have anything to do with the show and nothing to do with any of the people on the show. And we don't play like that around here. And the I'm No Joe podcast, we're sponsored by viewers like you. Patreon.com/ImNoJoe. For as little as $1 a month, you help us do what we do around here. And there's a lot going around here, let me tell you. But in exchange for helping us do what we do around here, for as little as the $1 a month contribution, you get your name on the end of every broadcast that goes down on this channel to let everyone know how awesome you are in helping us do what we do. But on top of that, we also give you unrestricted access to the behind the scenes, unaired, and sometimes unairable content that gets thrown around here on the I'm No Joe podcast, things that may or may not have gotten us kicked off of OnlyFans as a podcast, allegedly. But patreon.com/I'm No Joe if you want to help out. If not, we do this for free pretty much every week anyways. And that will bring us to the only segment of this show that we do for you folks for free that actually requires its own individual disclaimer. So if you will, Tapology.com does not in any way, shape, or form support, sponsor, or endorse the I'm No Joe podcast. Yet. That being said, Tapology.com does let you go onto their site and create a free account to make fantasy style MMA picks like we do here on the show. They even let you make groups on there. So we made one. It's called ImNoBookie, all one word, or group 965, however you need to find it. The group is open to the public. You are welcome and encouraged. Make yourself an account, join the group, and let us know who you are so we can hold your picks accountable with our picks in a little segment that we call Tapology with TJ.
All right. Jumping right into this. I know you motherfuckers like free shit, so I'm going to bang on it again. Tapology is absolutely free. Joining our group is free. You guys definitely like free shit, otherwise you wouldn't be listening to this because it's free. Go over there, make an account, join us. You don't have to tell us who you are if you don't want to. But know that if I recognize your name because you're in our chat during our live stream and I see it in there, I'm going to call you out. So if you're trying to be all hidden and sneaky like, don't use the same username. Now, with all that being said, we're going to jump right into last week. Fucking wonderful Adesanya and Imavov fight card, which, to be honest, was a much better card lineup than what we have this weekend. And to everyone's credit in the group, everyone was well north of the 500 mark. 7 picks of 11 or better. So, what's crazy is I feel like there was, what's the best way to put this? Something going on out of the Twilight Zone. The people who have been fighting at the bottom of the pile for the last couple of weeks flipped the script. Got my favorite thing in the world to say. Pats on the back to Vin Dog the Booty Hog for taking the top spot. 9 of 11, 615 fucking points. I fucking love to see it. Going from scrapping at the bottom to just beating everybody at the top. Now, it does make me question, though. Are the brothers over there, have they been cheating off of each other's homework last week? Because Christian got 9 of 11 correct as well. The only difference in there was a single semi-perfect score that took Vinny to the top over Christian. I feel like there was some, well, I've got B on this answer. How about you take C so it doesn't look the same? The hell are you two motherfuckers doing last week? Cheating bastards. I know it's so. I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. I'd say Meter was in on that too with 9 of 11 correct, but he fell well short of both of them. So I didn't know he didn't cheat. He just got lucky. I mean, you know, every once in a while you'll get a decent score if you take the test enough times. Now, there was a fight at the bottom though. Donna, myself, and Lucas fucking duked it out for last place. And like I said, all of us were 7 correct or better. But somebody wanted to run over their dick with a steamroller more than I did. So those honors ended up going to Lucas, taking that bottom spot. Fucking 7 of 11 correct, 465 points. Not bad. Not bad at all. It's just fucking, it was tough running last week. You really couldn't fucking miss anything. The first 2 fights, I had fucking wrong. Screwed me for the rest of the fucking night. Just everything else was falling in order. Those first 2 screwed me. But, you know, we got lucky. On the plus side, though, I will say Donna only beat me by 15 points. I was really fucking nervous there for a minute that she was really going to extend the fucking lead on this last fucking week going into the final week of the fucking Grand Prix here. Speaking of that, we're gonna go ahead and give you a rundown here of the Grand Prix points as they stand. I'm not gonna lie, this is I need Donna to absolutely shit the bed this week because she's sitting at 5,590. I'm sitting 5,280. I'm 310 points behind her. She has to absolutely shit the bed this week in order for me to win. Because I can have a great week, but if she's only 100 points behind me, I still don't catch up. She's really got to screw the pooch. Like, I need to get a hold of Dawn. I need to make sure she doesn't put in her picks this week just so I can get a fair gaming chance at this in case I shit the bed. Christian sitting in that 3 spot there at 5,025. Meter, I think you've got the 4th spot locked up at 4,690. Findog with his great showing is at 4,370. And Don has locked in the bottom position because there's no way he is making 1,000 points this week, sitting at 3,840. Some really strange shit would have to happen for Christian to take over first place. Some really strange shit would have to happen for me to take over first place this week. I'm pretty sure Donna's got it locked up. The only fight that there is between me and Christian on who's going to get second and third this week. So, but he's still got a 255 point ladder to climb this week. So, Christian, you better be hoping for my fucking demise so you can get second spot in there. Yeah, that is what it is. Now, for those of you, like I said, who haven't made an account, please go make one because then you can get in onto our next Grand Prix that we get set up here because this week is our last week of the end of the year / beginning of the new year Grand Prix is what I'm calling it because it ran over. To be honest, I like the longer format this one because with having that many more cards, it gave you a lot more time to kind of shuffle. And there's a while where we were shuffling quite a bit, so gives you a good time and it shows your track record over the course of quite a few fights. So, I mean, to be honest, the reason why Donna is beating us all is she's 91 of 127 picks correct. I was at 85 of 127, Christian 77, and Meter 73, Vinny 71, and Don just shit in the bed at 62, below 50%. He, to his credit though, he had some really bad fucking weeks in there. But surprisingly enough, his other account, if you go and look at that, you guys will have to figure that one out for yourself, was really fucking great. Every one of those cards. Told him, I was like, you just need to put the same shit on the same thing, but you know, he don't want to listen. Oh. All that being said, come join Tapology, Group 965, ImNoBookie, however you want to do it. Let us know who you are. We'll get you into the next Grand Prix as that gets set up there. And if you don't want to be in it, that's fine. Don't tell us who you are. But you're going to get an invite if we do know who you are, even if you don't want in. So click the accept button, man up, get your balls out of your wife's purse, whatever you got to do, you know, that whole business. Oh, with all that, we'll hop over to this week. For the lackluster fucking card that we have going on here. Just absolutely fucking trash. I did have to change up who I looked for odds this week because BetMGM didn't have all of the odds current right now. So I had to switch over. I'm going to be using Caesar's odds this week. So just as an FYI, they may vary depending on where you're looking. For the most part, we have a lot of coin flips or close to coin flips. So I'm only going to cover a couple of the ones that are, what I'll say, fairly wide odds. Because there's only 2 or 3 that are on here that are, oh my God. Well, I can't even say, oh my God, wide. They're just a little bit wide. So the first one I'm going to start with here is going to be Colby Thickness and Alexandre Taporia. Apparently, there is a lot of stock in the younger Taporia, or the older Taporia, excuse me, older Taporia. They've got him coming in as a minus 370 favorite, over Colby Thickness being a plus 290 underdog. I think that's a little crazy considering both of them are making their UFC debuts, and they've both got what I'll say future Hall of Famers and current or former champions in their corner. Seems like some really wide fucking odds for that. And you've got next one I'm gonna go into is Bruner Brazil and Kong Wang. They've got Kong coming in as a minus 420 favorite, Bruno Brazil as a plus 320 underdog. Even coming off of a loss, they're obviously still seeing the same things a lot of us are and seeing her as a major contender to be dealt with. The one other that I'll mention in passing here is the next widest odd that I see before I give you the widest of them all. And that's Kevin Jusetta and Jonathan Maleficent. That's what I'm calling him. Maleficent. Fuck him. We got Kevin coming in as a minus 260 and Jonathan coming in as a plus 210. So not super wide odds. Like I said, for the most part, everything is a coin flip on here. The widest odds on the card belong to some fucking names I can't say, which is great. So we got Quinlan Sakildi or Kildy or Killid. I don't know. Don't care. On Shul Jubilee, we got Quinlan coming in as a minus 650 favorite over Anshul as a plus 460 underdog. That is the widest odds on the card this week. No crazy 4-digit wide odds like we've had the last couple of weeks, but you got something if you want to make a crazy bet to make some money. There is that there. Now, as per usual, I'll quick cover the co-main and main. This is absolutely batshit crazy to me by Caesars. Co-main, Wiley Zhang, and fucking Tatiana Suarez. They've got Wiley coming in as a plus 105 on the underdog. And they've got Tatiana Suarez as a minus 125. Albeit pretty goddamn close to a coin flip. You can't think that Wiley is the fucking underdog. She's decimated people. The only person who's legitimately beat her bad was Thug Rose with a high kick. And since then, that hasn't been the case. And you have a Tatiana Suarez who is one injury prone, hasn't really fought any of the top contenders to get to the spot where she's at. But Caesars, I think you're smoking some rocks over there. I'm guessing if I went over to BetMGM, they'd have it a little bit different and have Wiley as the favorite, but still pretty close to a coin flip, just because generally a lot of these odds places, they tend to be pretty close in odds. On your main event, you got Dricus Du Plessis and fucking Sean Strickland. To nobody's surprise, they're saying Dricus Du Plessis is going to be the favorite as a minus 210. And they've got Sean Strickland coming in as a slight underdog and a plus 175. It's not surprising considering how their last fight went, and arguably Sean Strickland could have won that. But, you generally do give the favorite to the fucking champ unless you're fucking Wiley Zhang, and then you just screw the pooch if you're Caesars. If you're going to make bets this week, I'm going to go ahead and say this. Go see if you can bet on Caesars because their odds are fucked up. There's some chance to make some money there. Like looking at all of their odds across the board, there's some of those ones where I'm going, that fucking thing don't add up. There's something there where you can make some money on, specifically that co-main event. Yeah, you got to throw a lot of money at it, but you can make some fucking money. But those are the odds we got for this week. And I'm not telling you to bet, nor am I a betting advocate. It's up to you if you choose to do so. Those are just your odds. And hopefully those odds will also help you make your picks for the weekend if you are making picks of some sort, be it in Tapology, which is free and doesn't cost you any money at all, nor do you risk losing any money. But you get to have a good time. And maybe you get pats on the back when you do good. Or you get told that you're running over your dick with a goddamn steam engine. depends on how you do. You know, we'll see y'all next week and let you know how that goes.
Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. So, as is more often the case than not, I completely fucking forgot to give you fine folks the combat sports menu for the weekend. So, we're going to do that right now because I just fucking remembered it. And that's how it goes most of the time. This weekend, though, we are obviously talking about Australia. That is not even remotely close to the only game in town to keep an eye out for. Friday evening kicks things off 5:30 Eastern Central, 4:30 p.m. Invicta FC 60. That's right. Invicta is back and it is on CBS Friday afternoon. There are names on this card all the way up and down that even the casuals will recognize. The hardcores are going to know almost everybody putting on this show. 8 fights, nice, short, sweet card. Almost all of them are set to be fucking bangers. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be an entertaining card overall. Friday evening, Invicta is going to be running the fucking show. That being said, or excuse me, Friday afternoon. I apologize. Friday afternoon, Invicta's running the show because Friday evening, LFA steps in at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Standard for LFA 201 from down there in Sao Paulo, Brazil. This is one of those that the casuals are not going to know many names on. The hardcores are going to know a couple, but much like the UFC's card this weekend, it is headlined by 2 title fights. This time, though, the other way around, the men's fight is the co-main event, and the ladies are main eventing the card for the title fight. So, you know, Brazil being very progressive, they might have that woke mind virus. You better look out. Can't be too careful. That being said, that is not the only game in town Friday night because for a change, actually in the evening this week, One Fight Night is doing their Friday show, kicking off at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Standard, just an hour after LFA. This time around, we've got 5 MMA matches, 1 submission grappling match, and then 5 more Muay Thai and 4-ounce fucking glove matchups. If you have not seen them do Muay Thai and combat sport gloves, it is fucking spectacular. They've got almost a half a dozen matches of it on this card. Even if you don't know any of the names, this one unfortunately only has 1 title fight at the top of it, but the whole main card is stacked very fucking solidly. Even if you don't recognize names, there's plenty of combat sports going on Friday evening. That being said, Saturday, the only game in town this weekend is UFC 312, kicking off from Sydney, Australia. They will be starting at 6 p.m. Eastern American Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, Saturday afternoon. 2 title fights at the top of the card, lots of Aussies to pay attention to. You heard us break it down, so you know what we're getting into. But with that being said, that will bring us to the point in the show where things get a little more, we'll call it serious, even though it's not really serious. Things get a little less fun and a little more, oh shit. This is the point where we get a little less funny and get a little more competitive. This is the point that we call the pit. Unfortunately, if you're listening to the all audio version, you didn't get to see that terrifying GIF that rolled across the screen to let you know the transition is in the show, but this is that point nonetheless. So, with the birthday boy over there still nursing his metaphorical mental wounds of recovering from recognizing that he's aging just like the rest of us, we're going to let him sit this one out and run the judging for us here. Me and that man over there. Wait, no, he's over. Yeah, he's over there. Me and that man over there. We're going to have a fucking beard off. No, we're not. I wouldn't do that. But Christian, you ready to do some roughing over there, brother?
I'm good to go. I got my little notebook to keep the fucking score. And started off on the shitty side of things. We get negative out of the way, and then we'll try to be positive the rest of the way there. You know? Like we like to say, you know, what's the one fight you go waste some time, go grab something to eat, you know. Do whatever you gotta do. What's the one fight you give no fucks about on this card?
Did we determine who was going first yet?
No, I did
I was just
not.
about to say I don't know who
Okay,
that's for.
just making sure. I heard the question. I'm like, who's it for? What do we got going on? There's some shady shit going on in the reffing department here. I'm just saying.
Hey, I'm not on track with that. I didn't think how we should start. That's up to you, gentlemen. You do a little rock, paper, scissors, I guess.
Seeing as
Figure
how
it out.
TJ's had a rough enough week already, I'll go ahead and go first and let him catch his breath here.
Alrighty. So, what's your take on it, Meter? What's the one fight on this card you stray away from here?
There's a couple that could easily be argued are the why the fuck are we watching this fight? I think the biggest one that stands out, excuse me, the biggest one that stands out to me, ironically, is probably Cody Steele versus Rongju. Cody Steele is fucking undefeated. The UFC just absolutely loves undefeated fighters, but for some reason doesn't give a shit about them being undefeated until that undefeated streak includes somebody of a big name. So why put the guy in the middle over here, in the middle of the fucking card? He's not from the region. He doesn't have fucking ties to Australia necessarily. He's, a USA boy here. Rongju is from fucking China. Not necessarily that he's a world breaker, but we've seen Rongju show some potential here. You would think they would have match made this a little bit better. I can't make this circle square in my head. This fight doesn't make any goddamn sense to me.
All right, so flip it over to you, Golf T. What do you think on this card? What's the one fight to stray away from? Go fucking grab something to eat, take a whiz, waste some time.
Immediately, without a shadow of a doubt, Tom Nolan and Slava Klaus. Look, that fight to me is fucking useless here. The only reason it's made this card is because Tom Nolan is from fucking Australia. Slava Klaus is just somebody that they throw in front of people saying, if you can beat him, you can stay. He's literally this is what keeps you with your golden ticket. Otherwise, this card is, that fucking fight is useless. It doesn't do anything for the lightweight division. The only thing it does is either grant Tom Nolan a green card to get into the US to fight, or it keeps him in fucking Australia. That's it. It's just a waste of time, to be honest. I wish they would have put it on the Premier Prelims because it's really not that great. Although then I would have had to move some trash off the Premier Prelims to put into the prelim spot. So it's a no-win situation.
I can see it. Close round here. Definitely two fights that aren't necessarily looking like they're going to shape out to be the best. I am excited to see if Tom Nolan can do something special, but the fights as a whole, not the greatest. We'll flip it, go to the what we think might be the most exciting, or at least what you could try to hype up for somebody that, may not know what to keep an eye on for this weekend. What's going to be that most exciting fight on this fucking card? Just start back with you, Golf Team, and finish it around there and start you off with this one.
I'm going to go a route less traveled, even though I don't honestly think this, right? But I think it's got to be the People's Co-Main and Justin Tafa and Taliesin Teixeira. And that's just us hoping that Taliesin fucking just offs Justin Tafa, continues his undefeated streak in the first round, so we get some sort of excitement out of this fucking card. That one big aha fucking moment, because I don't see it anywhere else on the card being a possibility of having that big aha. Yeah, we could we could pick low hanging fruit and say Wiley Zhang might knock out Tatiana Suarez, but I'm gonna leave that to the heavyweights. So I think people need to watch that just for the first 5 minutes. If it's after that first 5 minutes, feel free to shut it off because then it turns into a wall or a slap fight. But I'm guessing in that first 5 minutes, Taliesin keeps that undefeated streak alive, knocks out Justin Tafa because, well, his chin has been suspect lately. So I'm just saying there's a strong possibility of him getting some sleeping done.
I like it. I like it. And swing it back to the other side. What do you got for this one, Mater? What's the one fight to keep the eye out for, to hype up, to let somebody know?
So that fight for me is going to be Song Wang versus Bruna Brazil. This is, in my opinion, one of those perfect dichotomy of fighting kind of fights. Bruna Brazil got to shut down the Molly McCann hype and hasn't really done a whole lot since then. But then you've got Song Wang on the other side of that, who just had her own hype train put a severe fucking slowdown on. And this is her chance to either get over that hump and show that she really does belong, or let Bruna Brazil legitimately end another hype train and then probably not do anything else after that. But just the same, the fact that Bruna Brazil would have now come in twice against someone who is supposed to, quote unquote, for those of you just listening, supposed to be able to just steamroll over her. And, you know, for her to turn the tables on now, potentially the Meatball and the Joker, we're halfway to an Aqua Teen Hunger Force reunion here with her ass whoopings alone. And I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it.
I like it. I like it. This is starting out swinging both sides. All right, so as we approach on, start getting to the guaranteed what I feel like are fun and good fights on this card. Start out with a co-main event. Flop you back over here. Start off this round with you, Meter. How do you think things are going to shake out with this ladies' championship fight? Zhang Weili versus Tatiana Suarez. Tatiana hasn't fought since 2023. How do we see this one going?
So I think this fight is weird for a couple levels, or excuse me, for a couple of reasons here. Yeah, she hasn't fought since 2023, but the even weirder part of that for me is that Tatiana Suarez was originally booked to be facing off in a number one contender fight against Verna Yonderova in December, pulled out of the fight in December because of a quote unquote severe injury. And then just a couple weeks later got announced for and is now apparently clearly healthy and ready for a title fight in the beginning of February, which just seems odd all the way around here. That being said, I am inclined to believe, if you've been watching the UFC's Embedded this week, which if you haven't, go watch that when this is over. They're just like 15-minute videos. They're fucking great. But the insight that those videos will give you is invaluable, in my opinion, here. And one of the main things that I have taken away from that this week, if Weili Zhang puts, we'll call it on a conservative guess, 1/10 of the amount of energy into her wrestling and grappling defense and keeping the rest of her skills sharp as she puts in to learning the English language, this fight isn't going to make it outside of the first round. She carried on multiple conversations. I was literally talking about this earlier with somebody else today. She carries on multiple conversations in fluent, clear, and understandable English. And just a little over 2 years ago, she said herself, she struggled for months to be able to learn the sentence in English. My name is Weili Zhang. I will be champion. Now she's legitimately carrying on conversations in English while she's training even. If she puts a fraction of that much energy into the grappling, because she said in very clear English, she understands that Tatiana is a great wrestler and a great grappler, and it gave her more reason to work on her own jujitsu and grappling. And then you add to the fact that she went to Thailand, and you know who she was working with over in fucking Thailand. Wai Lee is just making absolutely sure she is ready for any aspect of this fight. And then you see Tatiana, you see her doing some pad work, and I get that it's just pad work and it's behind the scenes bullshit, but she looks just as fucking stiff and boring as she always has, in my opinion. I genuinely cannot see a world where this fight makes it to a judge's scorecard. I don't think this is going to be one of those, 30-second knockouts like a Derek Lewis fight or anything like that. But I think Tatiana is going to come out and try and show some things that she hasn't had a chance to show in the last, 2.5 years. And Whaley's going to be like, that's cool. That's cool. My turn. And she's going to smack that girl around, and it's not going to be fun for her. And she's going to get that same look we've seen so many other girls get when they're in there with Wei Lee, and they get a couple landed on them, and then they go, wait a minute, what the fuck is happening? This isn't what I fucking signed up for. And next thing you know, there's a referee saving your ass because you're staring at the lights going, what's happening? I think Wei Lee by TKO. I don't think we get a cold knockout. I think we get a TKO, referee saving in round 3.
Interesting shit. One thing I definitely agree with is Tatiana has been awkward as all fuck. She is not good on the microphone whatsoever. It's just as bad as Raquel Pennington. Let's flop it over to you, Golf T. How do you see this co-main event shaking out tomorrow night? Oh, not tomorrow, my bad. Saturday night. Whoopsies. I'm getting ahead of myself.
I'm not. There's no reason for me to even try to play the bad guy and think that Tatiana Suarez has a chance here. Look, I said it earlier. She had a number 1 contender fight lined up with Verna Jandiroba. Pulled out, injury. Guess what? Gets a title shot while injured. Old Jandiroba is out there fighting. Also getting a win, by the way. And for those of you who didn't catch it, there was a nice little piece that they had an interview with Jandiroba, who said there was some shady shit going on there, because it was all of a sudden I'm in the middle of a fight and they're announcing her to have a title shot when she was supposed to be fighting me. There's definitely some shady shit of, well, let's see if we can put some gratuitous ass shots in a title picture so that way we can sell some pay-per-views. Look, I get it. Tatiana Suarez is undefeated. The few fights we've seen her in, she's won. But I'll say it and I'll say it again. She has not taken out anybody that makes her worth a title shot. The only one that you can reasonably say that about is Andrade. But Andrade is at the end of her fucking career. Her fucking number has been figured out, so many women have beaten her now. So you've got one that's a former title holder and title challenger. One out of all of them. She's beaten Nina Ansaroff. Or, excuse me, not Ansaroff anymore. Nunes. Fucking Montana De La Rosa. Those were her 2 previous wins prior to beating Andrade. And still gets a fucking title shot? How? Between the Ansaroff and De La Rosa fight, there was a 4-year period. Ansaroff was in 2019. De La Rosa was in 2023. That's a big fucking stop because of injuries. And you get one more fight in 2023 against Andrade, wins. First time she's competed twice in a year in fucking years. Because even prior to the Ansaroff fight, it was a year before that, before she fucking fought. You can't tell me with any certainty somebody who has not been that active, does not have what I'll call a background check of fighting the right people to get there, gets the title shot and wins. It to be honest, it's fucking ugly. There's it's it's not even a question. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when Wiley shuts the lights out. To be honest, I think third round isn't bad, but I think Wiley can get it done before then. I think we see her out of there inside the two. Her striking is much better. She's crisper. I really don't think it's going to last that long. But there's the other flip side of me on this that says we like to see Wiley go long in the tooth on some of her fights where she likes to take them to decision and into deep water. So she might do that too. But what I'm really hoping for is inside of 2 rounds, putting the fucking lights out, making the fucking ref pull her off and call it a day.
I like it. Both of you breaking down the co-main event pretty fucking well, and I can't disagree with either one of you. As much as I'd like to see Tatiana have a really solid chance, he's been too injury prone and hasn't fucking fought enough high level competition to feel that confident she's gonna get past this dominant champion. Now let's fucking swing it on over. Start you off again here, golf tee. How's the main event going down? Rematch, I don't think any of us needed, even if I was one of the people that thought Sean Strickland won the first fight between them. How do we think the rematch is going? Strickland getting the belt back with his staph infection, or Drickus getting her done, getting another defense?
I'm pretty sure at this point we're not going to see a 5 round slugfest. As much as we would probably all like to, it's not going to happen. I'm pretty sure Drickus has figured out Sean Strickland's game now. Albeit he allegedly did not win the first fight. And I'm in agreement with you where I honestly thought Strickland could have very well had that. But, leave shit to the judges. Strange shit happens. As far as Strickland's concerned, we've never seen that dude evolve. Never. He's done the same thing forever. Albeit, he's gotten better at the same thing forever. It just seems to get better and better every time we see him. I mean, he's taken out fucking Israel Adesanya. I mean, that's before he really took the big skid. So, I mean, there is something to that. The only thing I can guarantee during this fight is that Strickland at some point will talk some sort of shit during the fight. We might not be able to hear it, but we'll see his mouth moving. He'll be jacking at the jaw at some point until he's inevitably put to sleep. Because I'm pretty sure Drickus knocks him out this time. Probably it'll probably be late third, early fourth when it happens, because he's still gonna have to get through Strickland's shell, and that's not an easy task to do. But Strickland can be slapped. It's happened. So I think we'll get a good 3 rounds before Drickus gets it done. And make it clear, I'm not a Drickus fan. I like Strickland more than I like Drickus. And the only reason I really like Strickland is just because I love the shit he talks while he's fighting. He's kind of like Kevin Holland. Come on, just let me beat you up. That's it. That kind of shit. But to be honest, this is the only fight where we're going to see some sort of actual, in my opinion, chance at some really great pugilism where people are going to just swing punches the whole fucking time. But unfortunately, I'm pretty sure Drickus has evolved enough to where he'll have picked up on Strickland's game and have him pieced up this time. Late third, early fourth.
All right, good shit, boys. So how do you see this shaking out, man? Who do you think's taking this fucking main event championship fight?
So first and foremost, I have to say this isn't quite on agreeing with DC level, but this doesn't feel good to say, and I'm going to say it out loud anyway. Not so much because, but more in addition to what Golf T just said, that these guys are going to the death this time and stand and bang. That's what they said about the last fight too. And Drickus did stand and bang until he got the moment to go to the ground, and he choked Izzy out pretty goddamn quick, and no one saw that coming. And then Strickland talks about how he's going to walk him down, and that's exactly what he's going to try and do, because that's what Sean Strickland does. He's going to wear that weird Philly fucking shell, but he's going to keep trying to walk you backwards to beat you against the fence. That's his game plan. It's been his game plan. That will be his game plan because he doesn't have a plan B. That's Sean Strickland. I think Drickus's coaching staff, if nothing else, are smart enough to recognize that Sean is going to do the exact same fucking thing that he did the first time. And that's kind of what Izzy initially planned to do, because Izzy had talked about how there's so many holes in Drickus's game and you could walk him down, and that's what I'm going to do. And then we saw how that played out. This is giving very, very similar vibes to the way that Izzy went about his fight and the result that brought upon it. Add to that the embedded, I believe it was episode 2, where Drickus was literally showing off that fucking squeeze to some folks and talking about he would like to stand and bang with Sean, but if he gets the chance to grab that neck, he'll pop his neck off too. I think that might actually be exactly what fucking happens here, because that's something that Sean will never fucking expect. Sean, in his head, I promise you, expects Drickus to quote unquote do the man dance and stand in the center of the fucking cage and square up with him like they're in a goddamn phone booth. And Drickus, for all his fucking faults, is not quite that stupid. I think Drickus catches Sean getting sloppy because Sean is sloppy. And I think Drickus chokes the fuck out of him, because Sean's not going to fucking tap. Sean's going to give us the old fucking yop thump. I think Drickus put Strickland to sleep in the second.
Interesting. One of you thinks it's going to happen early, the other thinks it's going to happen later on. Both of you think Drickus is going to come out on top? It's interesting shit. This is a close one. Got the close scoring going here. Close back and forth. Last round. Normally fucking do the non-MMA shit, or at least non-fucking card related MMA shit, right? So I'm sure Meter's got the sticky notes. Not sure how many sticky notes you still got there on the board. 5? All right, so then we'll give Golf T that shot here. You pick your number, brother, and or you want to go first? You want to pick the number? Or you want to go first on this last
I'll go first. I want to see how honest Meter is and let him pick the fucking number on something he probably already knows is there.
one? All right, so then Meter, you pick your fucking number and give us that question for that 5th round here.
So, as was discussed briefly on Golf T's show last night, yes, while I may have handwritten all of the post-it notes on the post-it board of destiny here, they were written under a quote-unquote trance-like state, and I assure you, no memory of what the fuck anything on this board says is retained between these headphones. That being said, we'll do it completely blind here. We're going with that one. Oh, this is the old one that has been waited Oh my God. All right. So wait, am I going first on this or is he going first on this one? I forgot.
Oh, I'm going first.
Oh,
And
okay.
notice how he says that's an old one, so obviously he remembers. Now we know he's full of shit.
All
So it
right.
gets to be known to the judges' scorecards.
So just to be clear, not by
Clash of
any
heads.
not by any intention of myself, but by sheer nature of the question itself, there are dire consequences to getting this one wrong.
Dude,
What
I feel like I'm
does
on acid.
Marcellus Wallace look like?
Oh, for fuck's sakes. Really? How is that even on there?
If that doesn't justify my previous addendum, I don't know what would.
Oh, I'm sick of these motherfucking post-it notes. Oh, Jesus. Do you want the fucking movie it comes from, or do you want an actual fucking goddamn look? If it's me and you want a fucking description in my own little head, I can give you that. But to be honest, I feel like it's kind of self-explanatory. If you don't understand that quote, there's a fucking problem, and we can't be friends. Christian, you know what that quote is from, right? Just to make sure that the ref is on board with this.
No, I actually don't. I'm the one sitting out on the joke here.
Oh, fuck
As
me running.
soon
How
as
come
he read
we
that
can't
shit
even have a
off,
fucking impartial judge on this? You see?
as soon as he read it off, I'm like, well, I don't know what the fuck this is about.
Oh, sweet baby Jesus.
I'm just sitting here hoping, okay, whoever's more enthused or some shit, I'm gonna give the points to
I
it.
need to know, what was the point of that? Are we supposed to give a description? You know what?
Like I mentioned, these post-it notes were written under a quote-unquote trance-like state, and there is no memory of how or why they got to what they are wrapped between these headphones.
Good times.
Right. Now, I'm just going to answer that with one question. One question and one question only. English, motherfucker. Do you speak it?
Uh, then in response, I can only give the only other appropriate answer. Then why are you trying to fuck him like a bitch?
Now, from what you guys said here, is what seemed like quotes. Is this the Samuel Jackson character from Pulp Fiction? All
Yes.
That's
right,
exactly
so
what it is.
at least I was able to have the common sense and say, here's some quotes. It's like, hey, I didn't remember the fucking actual name of his character from the shit, but I've seen the movie, man.
I want to ride my bicycle, bicycle. Yeah.
Oh shit. Just based on that, here, let me fucking get this final round scored. Let me get the fucking tally up here. Do, do, do. All right.
Note to meter while he's tallying that up. Make sure next time you wrote a post-it note in a trance-like state like that, you describe what kind of answer you're looking for.
Can't control the oracle's visions. All you can do is write it down.
uh, So based on that last round, right? Once it all made sense to me, the better the final quote there, the funnier the moments. I'm giving it 48-47 to Golf T here. Golf T's taking the fucking win. Those were close back and forth. Golf T took that round 4, in my opinion. Got it tied up 2-2 going in the 5th. A crazy fuckery fun round. Just both of you gave a nice quote. It was a good laugh, and then once you both gave a quote, I realized what the fuck it was about.
I'm mad you still didn't catch the Marcellus reference. What the fuck, dude?
Hey,
I'll send you the full clip of that afterwards, so you see exactly where we pulled our quotes from.
I will also admit I have not watched that movie in a good 10 years.
Okay, then the follow-up question to that is why?
I
You try to
don't
fuck
like
with it.
watching movies, I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of patience. I
Yeah.
either pass out, that is, and you both know about that. I either pass out in the middle of some shit, or I lose patience and I got to start fucking around with something, whether it be looking at some shit on my phone.
Also, this week you can call me Mystic T, as I called that win yesterday.
Yeah. Hashtag agree.
Well
played,
I thought I
sir.
was going to lose points for forgetting fucking Christian's birthday.
You never know. You never know.
I should have deducted.
The scorecards are in. You'll have to fight that one with the commission meter.
Right? Yeah. See, this is why we don't go to California. Good shit. Good shit. So that being said, that is going to be all we've got for this particular episode. But when we wrap things up around here, that is, of course, not the end of the fun, because tomorrow morning and pretty much every Friday morning, this gentleman, wait, no, he's over there. He's down there. Yeah. This gentleman over here and his other half put out their podcast, the Slow Bake and Contemplate podcast, over there on Spreaker.com. Links to their podcast, as well as their social medias and their very own channel over on the I'm No Joe Discord server, all right down there in the description below, no matter where you're hearing this.
Appreciate you, brother. The fun never fucking stops once you get back around the next week. Best day of the week, hump day. You got to tune into the Brother Golf T Vape's YouTube channel. Head on over and around 9 o'clock, 9:30, tune in to the Foggy Fairway, man. If you're into the vapes, you want to check out some new recipes and just have a little cool fucking time, hop in, chill, show the brother some love every Wednesday night. Check out everything else that he's doing. All of his links and shit should be in the description as well. Show him some love.
Thank you, sir. Now, you guys didn't know what to do for the rest of the week. Little birdie told me that the meter does many things. So if you go down below, you can click on the linktree / the meter does many things, or you can use linktree / I'm No Joe, and that will take you to all of the many things that the meter does do. And that little birdie also told me there's some new content up there for you guys to watch, so go check it out. It's worth your time.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Yeah, if you are up to any of the devil's lettuce shenaniganry, as I clearly am, definitely go check out the other channel and what's going on. We've got set up for weekly drops now, going out for a couple of weeks. We're starting to build the stockpile up, getting back in the swing of things again, damn it, and having a good time doing it. So if you need something to look up to, there are plenty of links down below, whether you are catching this live on YouTube Thursday nights, generally 9:30-ish, 9-ish Central Standard Time here at youtube.com/@ImNoJoe, or we understand we own mirrors the week after it goes live, or in the all audio version, an anchor.fm/ImNoJoe, through your podcast consumption platform of choice, Google, Spotify, Apple, you name it, wherever, we're all the way through there. So if you like what we get up to around here, please give us a thumbs up. Make sure your notifications are turned on and you are subscribed to whatever platform you are picking this up on. We appreciate you just the same. On the opposite side of that coin, if you don't like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, what the fuck are you still doing this deep into a podcast you didn't enjoy? Give us a thumbs down and then go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That being said, That is all we've got for this particular episode. So until next time, boys and girls, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times.